All right, let's get this show on the road. Let's go back in here. I'm gonna have some information. All right. What's up, non-fam? What's up, Matt? How's it going? Hello. Have some information. What's up, non-fam? What's up? I don't know why it doesn't show me the. Oh God, I just clicked that and I didn't want to. Dang it. Okay, let's bring all this information over here. Okay, so we got 6 people on there. We're also streaming on TikTok. So, give it a couple minutes. What's up, Jason? How's it going? There, marked as announcement. What's up, John? Tripod. How's it going? Hoppers, what are you doing? Get out of the can. What? As you can see, my basement is even more a mess than it usually is. That's because we're getting ready for Christmas here. So on road to 2.2K. Sweet. Glad to hear. There, let's do this. All right, so we'll give it about 3 more minutes and then we'll start unboxing some stuff. Jeez. Just been playing Pokemon. You've been playing a new one? Oh, you're unboxing your Halot Lite? I didn't even think these were out to people yet. I've had this for like 2 weeks and I needed to get on it, so it's totally my fault. So, but that's good that you have it. So we'll be unboxing it together, I guess. It shouldn't be too bad. It's pretty straightforward. From what I can tell, this is Creality's replacement for both the LD006 and possibly the Halot Sky. The reason why I say that is because if you look at a Creality's official site, they do not list the Sky anymore. It's the Halot 1, the Halot Lite, and the Halot Max. This would be considered a medium-sized printer. The build volume is 192 by 120 by 200. So, a little bit smaller than a Elegoo Saturn, but not super super bad. Waiting on a video to render. What's up, Virgil? All right, now that I've been chewing your guys' ears off, literally. It is a resin printer, yes. This is Creality's new resin printer that will be coming out. I do have a link if you guys decide you want to purchase it. It is for sale on Creality 3D Official for $5.49, but I do believe that that is like a pre-order. Okay, yeah, all right. So you're kind of like their brand ambassador as well. So that's what they call reviewers, basically, brand ambassadors. So it's kind of nice because I have a file here that I'm going to slice up and use on this, but obviously we have to do some test prints on it first. But it is a file that is not out, not at least yet, and it's on somebody's Patreon page. So we'll put up the information for that file when I start printing it out here. So I wanted the Frozen Mega 8K bad, but my wife still saying no, big build area. I'll be honest, if I had two of those printers, I probably would not have any of these other printers, to be honest. And that's a lot to say because it's still a Shitu board based system, so it's kind of like lower end. Um, I personally think the Android based systems are a lot better, and Nano DLP maybe even a little bit better than that. But you know, usually you start getting into high price range when when you get into those type of boards. So, but it's probably the best Shitu based board printer that I have used yet, and it's just more or less because of the sheer volume. I can literally do whatever I want, and that machine is really nice because it's taken me way out of my comfort zone. Like I used to just be print in place, like just print and not piece together or anything like that. And that thing has gotten me right out of my shell because I had a coworker want a large scale model, so I scaled it up. It was still too big for the build volume, so I ended up slicing it in half and piecing it together. So, um, what is a good Benchy for resin printer? So you don't really use Benchies for resin printers. I mean, you can print them, and you can print them like microscopic. We can see about printing a microscopic Benchy. I've never really printed anything lower than like probably 30 millimeters, I want to say. So I mean, we can test out the ability of the printer and go that route. You know, we can do the Frozen's got a Mario test where it goes all the way down to whatever. But basically, it starts at like a 30 millimeter, then it goes down 20, 10, you know, so on and so forth. So, oh, Scott, you're missing out. Resin is amazing. Yes, I do agree. I like resin a lot better than I do FDM printing. So, what's up, Brennan? Genius. I guess I'm a genius. All right. Let me just go through these couple things. I just got my second filament printer a few weeks ago. Got to start making money with these two before I can justify a resin one. Well, I'll be honest. You can get pretty cheap resin printers. Now, granted, your build volume is like that's your limitation is the palm of your hand basically. So it does have its limitations, but I mean you can start under $200 for that, and then with a bottle of resin, you know, about $250 you can start off and just kind of get yourself going. But the quality of the prints are far superior than you know an FDM will ever show off. Like that's just basic water washable, which I absolutely hate. But this one's actually pretty good. This is Ministry of Resin. That's probably one of the better water washables I've used. So I totally understand that. It's definitely a money pit if you let it be. Yeah. So I do have a lot of filament printers. If you guys can't see behind me, I do have quite a few printers that I need to get going on here and get reviews on, and that's only like a small stack compared to what's in the back of my room there. So uh, I need to learn to use the resin printer. I have no idea at all. In my opinion, I think resin printing is a lot easier to learn than FDM printing. And then on top of it, the issues that you face are very straightforward. 99% of the time, the issues that you have, well, let me rephrase that. 98% of the time, the issues that you're going to have with printing are going to be user error. 1% of the time is going to be temperature, because once it hits winter time, you really need to keep these in a climate controlled area. Case in point, we had to print the articulated dragon on that printer, and I took it off the build plate and it didn't print on one part of it. And that was basically because I didn't at the time have my heater system set up down here. So I had all the vents closed, but I've since opened to one that's right above here, so it can get down onto the resin printers and make sure we have a consistent temperature down here. So started 9 months ago with an Ender 3, just got a longer LK5 Pro. I've heard so things about those stuff. But anyway, let's get to unboxing here. So this is the Creality Halot Lite. It is a medium-sized printer, so it's a little bit lower Z height than like a Voxelab Proxima 8.9 or the same printer, which is a Elegoo Saturn, the Anycubic Mono X, the Epax E10. So this does have a 200 millimeter height. And the build volume is 192 by 120. So that's your standard medium-sized printer build volume for the most part. It's just got a little bit lower Z axis. It's not the end of the world. But, you know, if you're somebody that's looking for something a little bit higher, then, you know, you have some other options to look for. But this is a pretty good starter printer. And right now, as I looked at it, it was $549 on Creality's website. So my printer room is like 110 degrees if all 3 FDM printers are going at one small area. That's good. So I'm going to actually take this down so we can get this out of the box. Get it all set up. I think I need a new knife, because this knife has seen better days. I have my eye on a knife, and it's kind of like a Tanto style knife. Looks really cool. But we'll have to wait on that one. It's not something that's absolutely needed at this point in time. Oh, saw that glitch. Look at that glitch. By the way, if you guys see me look over to this side, it's because I have TikTok running as well. So we are triple live streaming on this thing. What's up? What's up, Lynn? Brennan? How's it going? All right. All right, so first things first, top piece comes off. We have some release film or FEP film. This is probably just normal FEP film, not NFEP or anything like that. NFEP is a little bit stronger. Yeah, it doesn't really say, but it's always nice to have those as extras. Back cover, this is the same as the Halot Sky. It's literally the same exact one. I'm pretty sure of it. Let's compare. Here's the Halot Sky one. I never really use these things, but it's slightly different. This one's more rounded, and this one's more squared off, so little different, but not terribly different. Pretty good packaging. Looks like everything's intact, nothing broken. So I still haven't made the plunge to resin. I still like my FL Sun SR. Hey, you know, some people like FDM. That's perfectly fine. I personally like resin a little bit better. So we have our hood. It's a little more rounded off than we normally see, but nothing too out of the ordinary. This hood looks very familiar to me. This is like an Anycubic style hood. Anyway, let's put that up and out of the way here for a quick second. Get that up out of here. Got another pocket. And then we have basically typical USB drive from Creality that's probably going to go bad as soon as I plug it in. After sales service card, which is literally useless. We have our little brush, which that comes in handy, but not for what you guys think it is. Not for clearing off the resin. Like, you can use it for that, but I found this to work very well if you have a UV flashlight and you need to piece something together. You use this brush, you dip it in a little bit of resin, you spread it on your prints, and then you can use a UV flashlight to mold it together. So pretty good. Not too bad. All right, so let's take this off. Looks like something's in here. Power cord. There we go. So we have our power cord. I'm not going to use that because we already have one set up here. That's garbage. We don't need that. And here is the big bad boy. Let's see if we can try and get this thing out in one shot. Maybe. There we go. That'll make it a lot easier. Okay. And there it is. So a pretty nice unit. Similar build plate to the Halot Sky. It looks like it's a little bit thinner. Looks like it also has a little bit different finish on it. But very similar design-wise. Same type of locking mechanism where it's kind of like a weird square type thing. Knob. That's metal. That's plastic. This is all rounded. This is all nice looking. I'm surprised they didn't put like some covering on this. But that's pretty much all we got for right now. Let's go ahead and get this all set up here. Okay. Just checking the chats here. Okay. All right. So, yeah, for the most part, it's not too bad of a machine. I still prefer the Halot Sky over this because I am starting to not like these pop-off tops. I like to have them right there. I know they take a lot more room in terms of height, but it's better for me to deal with a height issue than there is an entire space issue for something this big. Because essentially, you need another space that's just as big as the printer. So I end up putting them on top of another printer because I don't have space. So kind of pointless to have that. One thing I wanted to touch on really quick, which I was discussing. Get that ASMR stuff in there for you. There you go. One of the things I wanted to touch on that me and another person were discussing was the fact that they had an issue where resin was like splashing on the inside of the hood. Now, I've had it happen where downstairs here I have a lot of static electricity, and I'm not exactly sure why, but you know we tend to have it. And I don't know where my model is now, but basically what happens is there's so much static electricity that it gathers on the inside of the hood, and while the resin plate is lifting, the resin is dripping off the plate and suctioning to the inside of the hood here. So it's always a good idea to spray some like anti-static stuff on the inside of the hood. So we might have to do that. I'm gonna see if I had that somewhere. I thought I did. Right in front of me here. Got so many bottles of resin. Yeah. Not exactly sure what I do with it, but either way, we'll have to spray that down with some anti-static stuff to make sure that it's working properly, because I don't want that to happen and get resin stuck on there. That would be no bueno. Stuck it in here. Nope. Oh, chat just kind of died, or is that, did StreamYards die? No, StreamYards looks good. Just chat. Chat stopped. Okay. So let's go ahead and get this all set up here. Is this a direct plug-in power? Yeah. So one of the things that I will say that I like about the Creality machines over most of the other machines that I've used is the fact that they just plug directly into a power source. They don't have a power brick on them. Like most of these printers here have power bricks. Of course, the Mega does not, because that's got a larger power supply, but like the lower end printers, they usually have a power brick on them, and I'm not a big fan of those. Like, yeah, it extends the cord quite a lot, but you know, you have a huge box hanging around somewhere. You know, you could just kind of incorporate that in the printer. So I like that Creality does that with their printers. That, you know, they kind of have it all in one. Set this up here. There we go. What's up, Dark Knight? Okay. So, yeah, that's the goal. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this bad boy on and see what we got here. So we have the fancy little Creality guy. He's like the little tiny dude who's walking around. So a nice setup here. So we have print settings and then something in the upper right here. What is that? Can't tell. Won't let me click on this. I don't know what that is. But anyway, let's go to settings. So we have clear screen function, WLAN, which is Wi-Fi. So that's nice that it does have that. Oh God, what happened? Is it still rebooting? Did you just die on me? That would be awesome. Hey everybody, the Halot Lite. It works, but it doesn't. All right, let's try. Oh, there we go. I don't know what that was all about. Maybe it was resetting itself. So we have WLAN, which is Wi-Fi, Z-axis movement, update, details, and other settings. Other settings is custom skins. So you can change the skin to a colorful one if you wanted to. Let's see if it'll change it. Right now it's kind of like on a dark skin. It's no difference. I guess it's a little more colorful. It's not something that I'm going to be like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Details, binding Creality Cloud, other information. So just the information about it, where you can contact, mail, telephone, the ID of the machine. Let's go ahead and just move our, there we go. It's very strange because it doesn't have an up and down like a normal resin printer has. Looks like a dead pixel. This one is the Halot Lite. So this is brand new. It's not even out on the market yet. We're just setting it up and showing it off to the world right now. I don't think anybody's even done review videos on this thing right now. Does it have a dual Z limit switch? No. So it does still have the oddball leveling where it levels at the top. Hey.
So we're going to stop here. So yeah, it's very strange because, like I said, usually it has an up or down feature, and it doesn't have that, at least that I can see here. Maybe they'll add that later. I don't know. Clean screen looks good. Updates. Yeah, we'll do that on a different time. So basically, it just has an up or down feature. So leveling, I'm guessing, just goes up, and then it comes back down. Back to 0 just takes you down to 0. So, oh, I'm sorry, that's right. It takes you up to 0. So we zeroed out there, and then leveling. Okay, so that's kind of a strange setup, but so to be in all honesty, while these are Creality machines, the Halot series are not made by Creality. This also goes with the wash and cure stations. They are not made by Creality. And in fact, none of the resin printers are made by Creality. Creality does not make any of these. But 100%, I know that the Halot series is not made by them. The board is not theirs. I know the company that makes them. Not saying that's a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because the company that they outsource to does specifically dental printing and additive manufacturing. So they don't have like cheap machines, which is why these are kind of expensive. That's why the Halot Sky is, almost $1,000 for that printer, and it's pretty much the same thing as this, just a little bit more on steroids over this, and that's why this one's $549 right now, and you can go out and get other printers that have a little bit more Z height. But that's because in dental printing, you really don't need anything above 250 millimeters. So that's why you don't really see too many dental printers that are like super large build volumes. That's usually like the additive manufacturing process that you see that stuff, or industrial use. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and get everything situated here. So like I said, we got our little bag here. We'll get out our instruction booklet here. A quick installation guide, which we really don't need. Warranty card, that's absolutely useless to us. Calibration card, these should be calibrated right out of the gate. I'm going to trust it on pre-calibration, but, I've gotten burned in the past, but we'll see. What's up, Mark? What is the screen? Mono. Yes, it is a 4K monochrome screen, I believe. Let me just double check on that. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So on here, it just says 8.9-inch screen. I'll find out if it is a 4K in a little bit here. We'd also check Creality's official website. Let's just double check. Oop, that's not. So yeah, it just says 8.9-inch. 8.9-inch monochrome, which I would think, okay, so it is 4K. At least that's what they listed as. So it is a 4K printer. Price of the machine. So right now you can pre-order this because this is not out to the public for another couple weeks at least. And you can pre-order it on Creality's official website for $549. So USB drive is going to be on the side here. There's also a USB-A port, so you can plug this directly into the computer, and you can update it via the USB port. I really want to know what this is. These little boxes. Anyway, let's see what we got on the printer. So we got a hollow ball or tower. So which one should we do? Should we do the hollow ball or a tower? I'm guessing that's the Eiffel Tower, which, if that's the case, it'll probably be like 13 hours, I think, because they usually put it on 0.3 millimeter. The hollow ball, I don't know, but yeah, we can take a look at that and see.
What's the build size? So it's pretty much a mono. It is 192 by 120 by 200, so slightly smaller in the Z-axis, but it's a medium-sized printer. That's basically what it's geared for. Like I said, this is basically going to probably replace the Halot Sky, just because the Halot Sky is very, very expensive for a lot of people, and a lot of people just don't see the additive features for the price, and I understand that. So they came out with this one to replace the LD006, which last I heard, the LD series is going to be completely gone once this launches. So you will probably see those on sale very, very soon. So keep your eye out because those will not be supported anymore. That way we get to see the curve details. I gotcha. Yeah, we can do the ball. Now the question is, what resin can we use that's not going to destroy this? Because I can't use nice resin, because then that means I'm gonna have to set the settings on this. So let me see if I got some standard resin somewhere. Deep peach. Yeah, you know, we can use this. This is Longer's Deep Peach, and basically this is, I believe the manufacturer that makes these is Benchy. So basically, anytime you see resin in these type of bottles, yeah, I know you can tell me, well, anybody can use these. There's usually one manufacturer that uses these bottles. Okay, that's why there's so many different types of bottles. There's metal ones like this, eSun uses, and some of the higher end manufacturers. But yeah, like Benchy makes Nova, they make Elegoo, they make Anycubic, they make Longer. You know, they make all kinds of different things. And then you have different bottles like this. This is Frozen's. You have what Longer used to use, which were these ones, and I forgot who made these. Then you have Ministry of Resin that have that kind of oddball bottle. So everybody's got their own little type of bottles on it. So got any basic Anycubic? I don't think I do. What's up, David? How's it going? Prefer the metal ones just to save on using plastic. Prefer the metal ones. I don't know what you mean by that, but yeah, I don't think I got any standard, any cubic. If I do, it's probably old stuff and it shouldn't be printed without being calibrated properly. But no, I definitely don't. I usually don't have those resins. And the reason why I stopped carrying Anycubic and Elegoo style resins, the Benchy ones, is I had a couple of them that had dried resin inside of them before I even opened it. So I ended up having to start filtering resins at that time, and I wasn't going to have that. So I used them up probably about 8 months ago, and I haven't been back since. So I've been using like eSun and Frozen and other different types of resins, you know, 3DRS and Monicure, like higher end resins that are they just print smooth. But I'm not going to waste good resin on this because most likely these files are calibrated for an in between, so this should be good enough. So I prefer the metal ones. I gotcha, the metal bottles. Yeah, I prefer those as well. But somebody said that those have a higher rate of having dried resin. I've never had that problem. I've used a lot of the eSun resin, which that's what they have. So, no. I was going to say I can try and use some Creality resin, but I forgot. I gave all my Creality resin away to the guys at the Creality booth when they were here for TCT, Rapid. So, let's go ahead and pour this bad boy in here. Not a big fan of this color because it's kind of like a skin tone, but we might have to add in some more. Because apparently, I don't even have 500 milliliters worth. So I hope this, well, it's a hollow ball, so it shouldn't take up too much resin.
through this. Come on, stay. There we go. Took that long for that to chill out. Already spilling resin all over the thing.
Looks like a dead pixels from here. Yeah, thankfully it's not. So, yeah, everyone resins are pretty good. iFun's not bad. I just finished up with their new like super white resin, which was it does stay white. Like usually when I use white resin, it yellows a little bit when you start to cure it. But we were good. We've been printing specifically on the Kangaroo KP6, and yeah, it's been coming out very well. I mean, you can see how white that is. My light just overpowers it. So yeah, I broke it. Yeah, I could do that. But like I said, even though we're in the basement, where those bottles of resin are is actually like not even what 6 inches from my heater vent. So those are already pre-warmed. And yes, my heater vent is literally right behind all those bottles of resin. Like they are just stacked on top of there. So Nova Stain from Nova 3D has really great white resin that doesn't yellow and prints really smooth. Yeah. I actually have Nova Stain, but it's red wax. And I thought I had another one. I don't know what to do with it. I probably should have used that because I actually have some water washable that I wanted to use and get out of here, but whatever. We'll use up this bottle of resin just to get it out of here because it's just kind of taking some space. So my number one resin is Sunlu, aka eSun. eSun, Sunlu is owned by eSun. Whether people want to believe that or not, it is. It's a subsidiary of eSun. And then Sunlu has about, I don't know, maybe 30 subsidiaries under their company name. 3D Warhorse, Hatchbox. No, I'm sorry, that's eSun. Sorry. Inland, regular Inland. God, I forgot like all of them. There's at least 5 things of filament that I have here that are Sunlu rebrands. So, all right. Anyway, let's go ahead and look up the Halot ball. And it's importing the model. File has been verified. The import is completed. Entering the print list. Okay. So does that mean I can remove this and we can take a look at stuff? All right, cool. So it does have onboard storage, just like the Halot Sky does. I don't know how much storage, but that basically tells you that this is an Android-based system, not a Shih board-based system, because it does have onboard storage. It does have a nice menu system, so we can do some editing on that. Okay, so basically, yeah, it just looks like it's a ball. Nothing spectacular. So on the screen here, on the print screen, you have play, or I'm sorry, you have play. You have start, you have stop, and then you have settings. Now, unlike most printers usually do the settings in the slicer, that's not the case with the Halot series printers. All of your settings are going to be on here. So right now we have initial exposure at 40, that's kind of high. So maybe we might take that down a little bit. We're going to bring that down to like 30, if I can. That's the problem with these screens, is they are very, very touchy. All right, so we're at 30 seconds. Our exposure time is at 3 seconds. I'm going to bring that down a little bit because I think this will probably print at a little bit lower of an exposure time. All right, so I brought it down to 2.5 seconds.
And again, usually we should just be doing a test print on this, but we're gonna try it. Turn off delay, that's your light off. I'm not gonna touch that. Raising height is 8mm. I'm not worried about that. Bottom exposure layers is at 1, so that's why it's set so high. So it's set at 40 at 1 exposure, so we're actually going to bring that back up to 40. Usually I have my bottom exposures set at 30, and then I have the layers, so that's how many times it does 30 seconds, is I usually have that set at like 4 to 5. Super touchy. All right, so we're going to leave that at 1 layer. Motor speed 3mm a second. Okay, we're going to save this, go back, and we're going to go ahead and start. So it's going to go up and home, and then it's going to bring it back down. So now we're homed, and then we'll start printing.
And that's pretty much it. That's the easy peasy setup. So yeah, it got colder here. Like I said, I just had a failed print on the Mega, where it was like it mostly printed it, and then like just one part of one side of it, it didn't like it, so it didn't print. And that's more or less because it probably got cold because it was on the back side of the printer. So, can you alter the layer height during printing? I don't know about during printing, but we can take a look at that really quick. So this is at five microns thickness, or 50 microns thickness. Number of layers 900. So yeah, it looks like once you hit those settings, that's it. You're done. You can't really do anything. So right now it's doing its initial layer at 40 seconds, and then after that it'll be 2.5 seconds after that. So, which we might underexpose it just a little bit because this is a bigger printer. We probably should have just left those settings and just called it a day, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not too worried about if we lose the print or not. We're going to do some settings on it anyways, just to verify that we're printing at the proper exposure time on this resin, because that's the number one thing that I see people struggle with is they're like, well, it was printing perfectly fine, and then just out of nowhere it stopped printing. Well, did you calibrate the resin? No. What is that? Well, that's the problem right there. You didn't calibrate it, so you just thought, hey, I'm going to set it and forget it. It's not technically how these printers do that. I mean, there are some prints that you can get away with that, but it's very unlikely that it will keep doing that. So you really have to calibrate the resin, each and every bottle of resin. And I even calibrate, like, let's say I have 3 different bottles of eSun, or I'm sorry, 3 of the same bottles of eSun, and even though I bought them all at the same time and they're all the same material, they're all the same color, I will calibrate each one of those just to verify that they are good, because who knows? If one was made on Monday and one was made a week later on Thursday, the mixture can be completely different, because not all those are manufactured to be exact. I mean, it's the same thing with filament. Filament varies consistency from spool to spool. I mean, even with the ton amount of machines that we have, and extra stuff that is out there to help make sure that it's within a certain diameter, still goes out of whack, or the color runs, or whatever. So I wish it showed which layer was firing like the Anycubic machines. It does. So right now it's showing this layer, and this is 5. This is number 5 layer of 900. So it does tell you that. And then its expected time to finish, I believe this is the finish time, is 3 hours, 18 minutes, and 53 seconds. Now, unfortunately, I can't see how much the resin is actually going to take, But since it's a hollow print, it shouldn't take up too much. So, and this will bring out a good amount of detail in it. So, I still calibrate each bottle, even if it's the same batch. Exactly. I know that's a little overkill. Do you necessarily have to do that? No, but just safe practice. It's best to do that if you don't want failure after failure after failure. I can't tell you how many times where somebody's like, I didn't change anything. I got a brand new bottle of resin, same material, same color, and now it's not printing. Well, yeah, that's because, sometimes it just doesn't work. That's just how it is. So, we'll do variable layer height. Depending on the model shape, we need something like that for resin. Yeah, that would be nice. I know some of the higher end printers allow that type of stuff, but this is getting up there in the higher end type stuff, but not super high up there. So yeah, and I couldn't tell you how many times I see that where somebody has a fail print or half and half, like half the build plate prints and the other half doesn't, and they're just like, oh, well, why is only half of it printing and the other half isn't? Well, you got to understand, like, as you pull away, like, you're creating force from the fat. So, you know, some of it might be less on the backside. Like, okay, the other thing is leveling your resin printer is another thing where it's kind of like a so-so. Like, it's not necessary to do it, but that goes back to where I said people have half of their prints show up on one side and half of their prints show up on the other side. It's because there's too much resin in one side of the vat or in the front of the vat or the back of the vat, whatever. There's basically too much on one side, so you get less peel force than you do on the right hand side. So like, let's say this was tipped, which I'm pretty sure this vat is tipped skewed this way. So I'm going to get less peel force here because there's more liquid behind it, or there might be more. I don't really know. I've never actually tested that. So either or, you're going to get more or less on the one that has more resin in it. I would guess less because there's more liquid to kind of like compact everything and have it kind of rush in there. So that way it keeps the fat down. But hey, I could be wrong about that. It could be the complete opposite. So, but yeah, that's a whole other thing. Like every little thing can throw it out of whack. But if you do it right the first time, you're good. So, okay, I can see the screen. Can't see the screen really well. Thought it was still okay. So since you can't see the screen, let's go ahead and do this. What are we doing? What is this? We'll set up the camera. The camera, the camera. There you go. Hopefully that's better. All right. So now let's go ahead and do a share screen. I can find it. Share screen. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, I unplugged my mic because I have it plugged into this camera. So just because people were complaining it was either a monotone or whatnot. So I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of hard to focus in here. Focus in. I'm gonna focus. Focus, dang it. Focus.
Take the focus out. Autofocus off. Yep. There you go. You can kind of see it. So we're at layer number 31 of 900 right now, and basically, let's see if we can focus this a little bit better. Nope, that's terrible. That's about as good as we're getting. So yeah, as you can see, the stop and the settings are kind of out of there. Now, if I pause this, we might be able to get this going, but see if we can change the settings. But I'm not going to do that. We'll just let it print and kind of go from there. So let's see. Let me set this up here just so we have something going. Oh god. Sorry about that. Loud noises. Put this on autofocus now. Not the greatest place to have that. Put that down. Put this up there. So that way we can actually see what's going on here. Oh god, taking you guys for a ride. Alright. There we go. It's a little better. Kind of wonky. Did I download the file from you? I have not. So let's go ahead and download some files. First off, let's look at the USB drive. So we're gonna turn off the camera here for a quick second, and we're going to jump into Shifu Box here. Make sure that we got everything set up going here. Let's hope the model is hollow. I hope. All right, so let's go ahead and plug the USB drive in and see what we get from here. We're definitely going to take everything off of the USB drive because continue without scanning. Yeah, so we're gonna take all this stuff off just so we have it, and I'm gonna put it into my printer files, printer stuff, new folder. Just because Creality USBs are known to just die on my computer. So basically, we're going to copy all this stuff over and let it sit here. It's kind of slow. Yeah, let's hope the model is hollow. So, all right. So that's kind of nice that we have that. Oop, I can't show that. No, get that out. That's an X print that we're going to be doing. That's really, really cool. I'm sure some of you guys saw that. I don't know how well that's going to look, though. All right. So maintenance of common hardware failures. This is going to be a disaster. Let's do this. The model is seriously damaged. Check that there is no debris or dust in the batt between the screen. Avoid too small scale of model slices. You know what? I didn't even check to see if there was a screen protector on the LCD screen because I know the Halot Sky had that and I peeled it off. it's a protector that needs to come off. Like it's just how it is. So we'll find out. It's not going to do anything serious. We can leave it on there if we really wanted to. So printing screen is damaged. Yeah, once you hit that, you're kind of SOL. The printing screen lights up abnormally. Shut down the printer and restart to check if it's normal. Printing process, data reading. Yeah, we'll probably end up using a different USB drive on here altogether because, like I said, I'm not going to deal with the Creality USBs. They're absolute trash. So I think all USB sticks die fast. They seem to always find the cheapest ones. Yes, they do, and that's why I always end up buying a batch of SanDisk USBs. I mean, you can pretty much see that all of my printers have them in here. Like, here's the King of Rune. Uh, the Mega has one sticking out. This one's got a little different one because I didn't have any more of the ones that I usually use at the time, but now I do. So we'll end up switching that out. But basically, all the printers that I have get those after the first week or so. What's up, Steven? How's it going, man? All right, so this is just kind of BS. We're not going to read anything into that. Instruction manual. We didn't really read that now, did we? Nope. Just kind of went in. This will tell me if there's a cover on the screen or not. Nope. That's to change the FET film. USB drive. So this is the thing that they are trying to go for is this remote printing, which I don't know if it's going to go over very well, but alrighty, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for the follow on TikTok, which we are live right now on there too. So I'll be around. I got some stuff I need to do tonight, so if anybody needs anything, I'll be here. We'll probably be on for another half hour, I want to say, maybe 40 minutes. So just going through here, yeah, it looks like it's a similar board to the Halot series printers. So proprietary 64-bit ARM processor, I'm guessing. USB port, spare brush arm. Okay. Yeah, this is just basically telling me what I already know about it. All the information, user manual. Let's see this. Software, clone. Okay. Which we already have Creality Halot box. I don't use the actual slicer itself for any of this. I just more or less use it for slicing. I do all my stuff in Shitu box and then I export the file as an STL. So we'll probably keep doing that because I don't want to install a ton of softwares to have, this one or that. Because I do have software for the Halot Sky, but the problem is because my Halot Sky is an alpha machine, meaning it was one of 3 that were the first ones to be released. I cannot update my firmware on there, so I cannot use the new Creality box or Halot Slicer or whatever they call it now. So I'm kind of stuck with this. So, but I don't know if we can use that. We have to see what kind of output. CXDLP. So it uses the same output file as the whatchamacallit, the Halot Sky. Yep.
my God, that's still on. There we go. All right, so we're basically just going to watch their video and see how it is. Plug in power supply. All right, there's our little guy. See, I think that's what it was supposed to look like, but ours is still all black. It's fine. Not the end of the world. All right, so let's see what they do. Loosen the rubber head screws. Okay, so there is no protective sheet on there. Good. So they do leveling. It should be leveled out of the factory. It's very rare that I have a printer now that is not leveled. But we'll find out soon enough, because if the print fails, well, then it fails, and then we'll have to do a leveling and go from there. Not the end of the world. So, but if something sticks to the build plate, there you go. So yeah, that's good that they show this, because they show going from the back left to the front right to level this properly, and then vice versa, left front to back right to do it. Hey, look, that's Eson resin, aka Creality resin. So now they have their newer resin, which is in there. So this is what we're printing right now, is the hollow cube, from what it looks like. So we might actually have to install a slicer on this. I don't know if I can get away with the Halot Sky stuff. See, and even this is older, an older video, because that's the same exact setup as the Halot Sky, and this one's got a little bit nicer setup for the menu. So they're using time lapse, but not resin lapse. So that's what it's going to come out to in three hours, basically. Which we're not going to be live for 3 hours. That's not going to happen. So, but basically, let's go ahead and get another model set up here, and I'll show you exactly what I do. So I'm just going to open up Sheet2Box Pro, because that's what I normally use. I do have regular as well. Yeah, it's kind of like a hexagonal sphere, like a base, almost. All right, so we're going to base it off of the, I don't think I have that, actually. Oh, no, I do have it on here. So we're going to use, don't want you guys to see that. That's going to be a cool one. Can't wait to print that. Anyway, let's go ahead and use this. So the build volume, I believe, is the same in here for the Halot Sky. So let's go ahead and double check our profile. 192 by 120 by 200. So same exact setup as the Halot Sky. So we're going to go ahead and open the file. Oh, you know what? I might actually have to unzip that file. Now that I'm thinking about it. So extract to downloads. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's Tag House. So we're going to go to View. We're going to go to Large Icons. All right. Oops, that's not what I wanted, but whatever. Just open up a new one. Screw it. Yes, I'll post some photos after. I'll also have it up on my TikTok to show some people off and show everybody what's going on with it. No, I do not want to add it be automatically saved. Let's go ahead and go to Open. Let's go to Downloads, STL. We're going to go Full, and this is probably going to be a big print. And it's kind of sizable. I didn't think it was going to be that big, to be honest. But it is big. There we go. We'll probably have to turn him on his side somehow, or like, let's see how we can do this. Nope, that's not. going to be a tough one to print. You might have to end up printing them just like this if we're going to try and print them on this printer. But we can also do scale and scale to fit. We can bring them down a little bit. Not super, super big. So, but that'll be pretty good. All right, let's do this. Print them this way. And then we'll do scale to fit. There we go. I like to have them on an angle a little bit. .30-degree angle. That's pretty good. Support setups. Good old frozen supports. So what's kind of cool about this is I can choose whichever one I want to print with. Really, really fun. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by, bud. Yeah, we'll definitely need to hollow him out because he's going to take quite a lot of resin if he's a solid print. But the jolly old fat guy with eight little reindeer. Yeah, this one I was just talking to the guy. He does a lot of the artistic Pokemon things that you guys see on the Thingiverse page. So, what layer height are you printing at? 50 on the test print right now. That's usually what I print at. I don't go anything below that. There's no need to go below that with these newer printers. So, like 2K screens versus 4K screen, like that whole thing, you don't really need it. So, we're gonna go ahead and cheat. We'll do all. See how it looks. See if it's overbearing. That's not terrible. That's pretty good. I can do a couple more just to add on some strength and structural rigidity. So. Not 100% what I wanted, but close enough. This model, yeah, it'll be the same. I usually I don't change that. So it's very rare that I'll change the layer height on it. So we're going to add a couple more heavy supports here just so we have it. Well, not heavy supports, but what I mean by heavy supports is like heavy bridging supports, just so we have it. And that should pretty much do the trick. Add a couple more here. Portrait test for an FDM printer is resin supports. Yeah, probably.
Okay, I think we're good enough with that. Yep. All right, so basically what I do for the Creality Halot series printers, because like I said, my Halot Sky, um, I can't update the firmware, so I can't use any other slicer with it but the original Creality box slicer. So what I'll usually do is I'll do all my supports, do everything here, and I'm going to save, oops, not that one, save all as. And I'm basically going to complete, save it as that. Okay. So now that's going to save all my support settings, everything on here, and all I have to do is just come down to the Creality box. And I'm going to import my model. So I'm going to go back to the STL, and I'm going to look for full med complete. And I'm going to bring it into here with all the supports and everything. And we're just going to go ahead and select slice. And it should slice it the same file model as the Halot Sky. But since this is a newer machine, it might have different firmware updates. So while the Halot Sky oh, thanks, bud. While the file output, it will be the correct one, it might not work. Mark? Okay. I'm not sure who that is, but oh, never mind. I'm special. The car is running, but nobody's behind the wheel. Yeah. So the problem, Mark, is I have like 3 different pages opened up because for some reason on my personal page it does not show people's comments. But now that you're on YouTube, I can see your comments on my StreamYard. I don't know why that is. Don't ask me. So yeah, basically we're just gonna slice it. We're not gonna touch anything else here. It's going to be at 0.50 layer height or 50 micron layer height. And yeah, we'll save it to local. So we'll see if it saves it because it is saving it as a CXDLP. But again, since this is an older slicer, it might not take it properly. So, oh, cool. Well, thanks. Okay. So now you're all saved here. Understandable. I need to try and get on a little bit earlier because the problem is a lot of people are not up at this time. Dang it, I probably should have supported those a little bit more. Should have at least supported that tip. Might be okay because it's blended in with the whatever that is, his bag. Might be okay. It's all good. All right, so basically, we're going to close that down. We're going to exit. And now it should show us on the USB drive that we have a Santa Snorlax and a CXDLP. Again, hopefully that works. Excuse me. All right, let's go back to the live feed and see how we do. Not bad. We're at 164 layers right now. So obviously we're not going to let this go for the entire time or be way, way too long. So, yeah, I just moved it off the build plate right now, and the model wasn't off the build plate, but the supports were. So it's not going to be a game changer or anything. It's not gonna cause any issues that the supports are off of the build plate. So because what's going to happen is if something's off the build plate, it's just not going to print. That's essentially what it's going to do. So good night, David. Thanks for stopping in, man. So since Matt was here, let's go ahead and download his file. I took you guys off of this because I don't want you guys to see his email and bombard him with questions. So I'm just going to download it really quick. Yeah, but so far so good. I mean, it's not any different than any other build plate. Now I know that there is a new OS out here because one of my buddies has this printer already. He got it about a day before I did, and he's been hounding me like, "Hey, dude, we should do a live stream." And the problem is I can't really at this time of year, especially. I can never plan anything to go at a specific time because there's always something going on. So that's the downside of this time of year. But even if it wasn't this time of year, it's hard for me to plan things and get a live stream. Like, hey guys, guess what? On Wednesday we're going to be unboxing this and setting this up. Well, that's the thing that I personally love about live streaming. It's like I like doing it because I don't want to make people feel that, oh my God, he's getting these great results and this is how it's going. No, I'm gonna tell you my trials and tribulations. Just like we did an unboxing of the Revel Point 3D scanner. It's a cool scanner. Don't get me wrong, but the thing is like all the videos show you like, wow, these are amazing. Like you can scan everything. You can scan your face and 3D print it. While that's the case, there are some caveats to it. So it's nice on a live stream to show you exactly what's going on because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's just like one of the reasons why I have a love-hate relationship with making content because content creation is all about aesthetics. And if you show disasters, not too many people will want that. They want to see a finished print. They want to see something go off without a hitch, like this, like this is a nice print, but I'm sure if I put my fingers on those horns, that will probably snap right off because the filament that I'm using it's trash. It literally is trash. Like I got it as an Amazon return completely free. Um, so I mean, there's little things like that, but like the other day I was on a live stream. I took off an articulated dragon off of the Mega, and like I said, for the most part, it printed. It probably printed about 97% of the print, and then when I went to go and take off like the last little tail part, it snapped in two, and I was like, "Oh no, I broke it." Well, I didn't break it actually, because of the weather change and me not having the heat directed down here, I must have had a temperature shift greater than what it wanted. And so it printed it for the most part, but then those parts just, it was like, I'm out. See you later. So, and I know it's not a screen issue. It's not a resin issue because this thing's printed right now and we have to take it off and clean it up and show it off. That one's going to be really cool as long as nothing really fused together, which it shouldn't have. We should be looking pretty cool on that one because that's a multi-hexagonal print where it's like it turns 30 different ways at once. So, yeah, it's live and fun and mistakes happen, but shows the pro and minuses. True. And the model review I showed models that had failed and explained why it failed. Exactly. That's even better. Like, it's good to show, like, hey, I did this, but that's because I messed up. I basically did the same thing with the Uniformation GK1. I used their standard resin, and I did a couple prints on it. I used it up, basically, and I had a customer want a custom print made, and I couldn't show it off, so I couldn't tell you, like, hey, this is what the print was. But basically, they came to me, wanted a custom-made print so they can make metal copies off of it. And basically, I printed it with Monocular crystal clear resin. And when I went to go back to printing again on that, I took out the crystal clear and I put the standard back in there because I had some new bottles. And I was going to print some more models. And I didn't realize when I put it back into the system, I did not change the tuned profile that I had just done for the Monocular crystal clear, which is a second difference. I think it was a second more it needed. And so we went from 3.5 seconds to 4.5 seconds. So the model way overexposed, and or I'm sorry, it was the opposite. It was 4.5 and I did 3.5. So the model was underexposed, and the model printed pretty well because of the supports I had. And then finally, once it got to a certain point, it was like, all right, this is too heavy for the underexposed resin. So I'm literally just like decapitating from the top of his chest on. So the print. So it happens. But yeah, I made sure to show that one off and just tell people like, hey, always make sure you check your resin profiles before you hit send. Before you send it. So not setting stuff up and in a rush. Exactly. And that's exactly what happened with that. So it was like 4 or 4:30 in the morning, and I was just like getting ready to go to bed. I was going to set a print and then wake up in the morning and it would be good or close right before I left. So I set it all up and I wasn't paying attention that I had a different profile set up for clear resin, and I was using gray resin with the print, and that was the end result of it. So I ended up wasting it was a solid print too, and it was 200 millimeters tall. So it was quite an expensive print to go down the drain, but it happened. You live and you learn. So thankfully the company was cool, and they were like, yeah, we'll send you out some more bottles and it'll be all right. Getting close to seeing what's on here. I am on Discord, but it's not something I'm usually on. I'm more on Facebook because of my large 3D printing group that's on there. We have about 70,000 members now, I think. So, quite a lot of people. I'm mostly on TikTok, mostly on YouTube, mostly on Facebook. Discord, I'm kind of so-so. Like, I'm in a couple groups here and there. People can invite me, but it's like, if you need me for anything, please tag me because I have all my notifications turned off because that stuff just annoys me. So that's basically how I deal with Discord. So I know Discord is very person to person type thing. But one thing I absolutely miss about forums is the fact that you can have separate sections for everything. I mean, Discord's kind of close, but it's still a little bit cluttered. Whereas forums, you just kind of do a basic search within that that folder, and you can find what you're looking for. Anycubic. That's one printer I have been struggling with to try and get. I haven't had an Anycubic printer on my hands since the Photon S, and I've been talking with Spring, and I know they're talking about possibly getting me the 6K. I'm not holding my breath because my YouTube channel is very, very small. I think there's only about 3,700 subscribers on that, so I'm not really big on that. It's my Facebook group that's really like known, and that's why I spend most of my time there, because there's just a lot of people there. And we have, even though we have 70,000 members, like anybody could say, oh, well, we have 1 million members. Yeah, but how many people are actually active in there? I can say without a doubt that 60,000 people are active on a monthly basis in my group. So that's quite an astonishment. And I always go through and I make sure that I keep all the accounts that are not active. I remove that. Like, yeah, that brings down my account, but it makes sure that that group stays true to what it is. So I'm very meticulous on the way that I run that group, and it's been successful so far. We're going to be coming up on our 3rd year in March. I'm hoping to hit 100,000, but it's going to be a stretch. Hopefully, with Christmas rolling around, we'll get that going. So I'm still waiting on my 4K mono to be sent. Yeah, some with me. I was sad I missed out on the Anycubic DLP printer. I'll be honest, that's kind of so-so. Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's kind of strange that you run it and you don't have one. It's just kind of odd to me. Usually how it goes is if somebody brings me on board to manage a group, I usually have one of the printers. Like, I managed one of the groups for the Sonic Mini, Sonic Mighty, Frozen. Like, I'm not on the official Frozen groups, I'm not an admin or moderator because they see that as like favoritism. So I completely understand where they're going, but they kind of have me as like they're an expert on there, which I don't really consider myself an expert, but I know enough to help people out and get them printing. So there's only one person lately that I have not gotten a good amount of work to get them going, and I just, it's a phenomenon. Like, I don't know what's going on with their stuff, so we're still trying to fight with it. So, yeah, probably. I'm usually, if there's a 3D printing group, most likely I'm on it. So whether I'm managing it or not, I'm usually there. I'm on all of the 3D printing groups that I can think possible that aren't really like resin specific, or not resin, 3D printer specific. Like, I am on a couple of them only because I've had the 3D printers, but other than that, I usually am not on a group specifically for that printer if I don't have it or have not had it in my hands. So, like, the Anycubic ones, I'm on there just because a lot of people tag me and they're like, hey, I need your help with this. So that's usually where it goes. And I'm just on there as grandfathered in from like the Photon S stuff. So I usually get invites and whatnot. So, well, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I talk with a lot of people throughout the day. So. So that's good. Always around to help. I'm never shy to do that. I might be a little bit busy, but once I have the free time, I'll be good. I can help you out as best as I can.
I think we'll be okay with this resin. So I'm waiting on the 4K so I can test it against the 2K mono. Yeah, I've had a ton of people come out and ask me, you know, hey, can you help me out with my Mono X? And I'm like, I'll help you out, but it's a different breed because the systems are Android based, so they're a lot easier to work with. But it's been so long since I've worked with an Anycubic printer. Like it's been what, like 2 years since I've had an Anycubic printer. So it's been a while. So if anybody can break it real good, I can. Absolutely true. It's never a live stream without me breaking something. Well, in this case, I didn't break anything. Not at least yet. So this live stream is kind of an oddball one out of all of them. Although I did skip a couple things here and there, so I didn't check if there was any cover on the LCD screen like there normally is, but basically the settings confirm that. So, hi Dora, how's it going? Just checking out the Creality Halot Lite 3D printer, resin 3D printer. I still have the classic OG Photon, still works, still the same screen. Yeah, and that's basically like the Wii box here. I've had that for just about 3 years, and I just ended up replacing the FEP and the LCD screen on it. Like the LCD screen was still going, but it would like twitch out every 3 prints. So I was like, yeah, it's probably got over a couple thousand hours on the original screen, and that's an RGB screen printer. But I mean that's far superior to any of the other printers that I have here. Uh, because they're all lower quality. That's a dental industrial printer, so the accuracy on that is just insane. So I print specific things on that printer to make sure that they are right. Um, but yeah, I finally ended up replacing it because it was kind of twitching every 3 prints, and now it's good. And now I really don't need it anymore because I have a bigger version of it, the GK1, which is newer technology, same board, same type of printer, just a larger scale. It's a 10-inch printer. So I believe the build volume on that is 215 by 192 by 245. So it's kind of a bigger printer, and it's a 5K mono screen. So, used it all the time. Keep having to explain to users off time is so important with the older printers. Yeah, it may take longer to print, but it saves the screen. All we need is an injury. Get an X-Acto out. No, sorry. All I have is my trusty, kind of not so sharp knife. My X-Acto knives. I don't know. They're probably in that drawer. So. But I'm gonna leave it on here for a little bit. We'll probably cut this off in probably about 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna wait until this gets to 300, so that's a quarter in. Right now we're at 260, so 40 more layers, and we're gonna call it quits for the day because we're already at an hour and 35 minutes in, and I think that's pretty good for a live stream. So. Absolutely. Always hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Thank you very much, sir. Every little bit helps. This shirt really shows my fatness, my taco belly. Terribly. I'm not hearing anything suction, so we might have a failure anyway. I'm going to, hopefully at 300 layers, I can see underneath it. I'm still a little shy. So this does have an active filtration fan, just like the Halot Sky does. Same type of setup for the base and everything, same style of that.
Not sure why they had that more like squared off, but whatever. I think that back cover will probably fit the Halot Lite here. The only major difference between the two is the setup here for the lockdown is much thinner on this one than the Halot Sky. And that, of course, has got a newer LCD. So this is all plastic. That's all plastic. That's plastic and metal. We have this. We have the. So one of the cool things about the Halot series printers is the light source that they have is vastly different than anybody else's. So usually the two main ones that are used in LCD printing are the cob light source, which is basically a single LED, and then it's kind of fluctuated out into a metallic funnel, so to speak, to cover the entire LCD screen. That's probably going to get you very even lighting. Then there's also the flip side to that with the matrix LCD. So, and that's kind of so-so. Some of them are good. A lot of them have some dead spots in them, and you won't really notice until you print. So, this one has a different light source where basically the light source shines down this way, and there's a mirror that beams it back up onto the screen, and it has a super even light source. So, Dora, Focus Resin is on the way. Maybe you can have a try. I am absolutely down, Dora. I'm kind of the resin printing guru around here, so I'm absolutely in for that. Just hit me up whenever the time is right, and we'll get everything set up here. So, like I said, we're doing that for Creality right now, and this machine isn't even out for the public to buy. So we're going to do some printing with it and show it off and see how well it is. So, and then after I'm done with this live stream, I got at least 2 reviews to do. And then I need to figure out when I want to post those reviews and go from there. So, deal. Sounds good. All right, so we're at 280 layers. Well, we're on our 280th layer. We will be finishing right now. What is it? 138. We are live for. Let's see if I can try and see it. No, I'm just a little shy here. Nope. I think we're going to have to wait till like 350, maybe 400 to see if it's failed or not. I mean, I can always pause it, but I don't know if they've incorporated the pause and lift feature on this printer yet. So, one thing I love about the Photon Mono range is the restart print after power failure. Now, in my experience with FDM, that's never really worked. I've never tried it with resin, and I'd be super duper scared too, because if it's wrong and it's off by a millimeter, guess what? Crash right into the screen. So it's very, very risky. So I'd be depending a lot on that. If I had like an extra screen, I would definitely test that out and see. So any updates? Hold on. Very handy if you're tired and need sleep and you don't like machines running when asleep. I can restart it after I wake up. Yeah, I have no problem running these down here. They're all on battery backups if they need to. There's a filtration system in the back there, and it's downstairs where there's fire suppression on here as well. So, any updates on the Whale 2? Will you be doing a follow-up? I just finished 2 prints. You can kind of see one right out of view here. That's that blue one. So, I was waiting for Nova to send me some more resin because per our agreement, it was 2 kilograms of resin. And they only sent me 500 kilograms of resin, or grams of resin. And basically, I ran through that like nobody's business because it's not a small printer. So I ran through that. They sent me a kilogram of this like toilet bowl cleaner blue. You can kind of see it. It's a nice color, but somebody called it toilet bowl color, and I'm sticking with it. So like, yeah, it's clear blue, but it's toilet bowl cleaner blue. It's definitely a name that sticks. So I do have another print on here right now that's in cooperation with this print. We have a validation matrix, which I can show you guys. This is basically what I do for all prints. Is I run one of these. This is a calibration matrix that tells me if I'm exposing in the right area and making sure that our print is going to stick to the plate. That's one thing that I absolutely like about AnyCubic is they have the re-refs tests, which basically you just put in like a certain range of exposure, and you just go ahead and you print it, and it'll tell you which one is best in one go. Whereas that you have to print one, change the settings, print it, change the settings, print it. By usually the fifth time that I get it. So, I mean, I'm usually spending about a half an hour to tune a bottle of resin. I'm not spending a lot of resin, but it takes a while. But the cool thing is, if I tune that resin, I can use that resin for future, and basically I can keep using that same type of setup, even though most of the time it'll probably be point one off or 0.2 off of a different bottle, because like I said, it's always best to tune each and every bottle. So I use build tack on my FDM printer, so power off on FDM works well for me. I'm amazed. I've had a Ender 3 print farm that I used to take care of, and when the power would go out, we would just let it go. Like there was no point in resetting it, because literally 99% of the time it would fail. So it was just pointless to try and restart it. Never had a problem with the restart as long as you power down after it's finished a layer. Okay. What's up, Jake from State Farm? How's it going? Thanks for the likes, guys. Who is that? Blue Cord 3D. What's up, man? Let's see. Has it been as good as your initial impressions? Yes. Now, I will say this, okay? The prints that I'll show off, you're going to see some major lines on that. And the reason for that is because I chose to use sheet 2 box. It is not the ideal solution to do that because it takes away anti-alicing, and it takes away some other smoothing thing. So basically, they suggest using the Nova Maker. I'm not a big fan of the original Nova Maker. I didn't even install the new one to test it out and see how it goes. But the original was just a travesty. So left a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not going to install it. I use Sheet 2 Box for pretty much everything else, even the Halot series printers, as you guys saw. So I'm just going to stick with that. But I can kind of show you what I'm talking about in terms of layer lines. You can't really see it. The light gets it too well. There. But you can literally see lines all throughout this. So it's not super smooth. Now, I don't know if that's the model or if that's the orientation or what's going on with it, but yeah, it's not that great. But in terms of the machine, it's been what I expected with it. Pretty much print and go. No issues. The only oddball thing that I have to say about it is the build plate. How it sits on there is just kind of goofy to me. It's not a deal breaker, but it's really weird. And the other thing is I wish that it rested all the way at the top. Most of the time it rests 100 100 millimeters above the bed, which, yeah, that's okay. But it's just kind of goofy because all my other printers raise to the top. So just kind of an oddball thing. Everything else is pretty good. Though we've done a couple time lapse with it, so we'll throw those in the review and everything. So, but yeah, that's basically where we're going to leave it that for right now. Like I said, we'll still do some more printing with it and show off some more prints because I got to find something really cool that makes that blue pop, and I gotta try and figure out what. I think I have an idea, and it has to do with StarCraft. Um, Maybe some jewels or crystals. We'll try and do that with that blue because that's a really, really nice blue. I like that color a lot. But yeah. Yeah, I've been sorting out my health as I was diagnosed with emphysema. Oof, just at the start of the epidemic. What are your thoughts about the Shitu box locking down their newer boards to only their slicer? Well, the reason why they do that is it's a marketing tactic to basically keep you using Shitu board systems. So Shitu board doesn't really make a lot of money. They sell third-party stuff like screens and parts for resin printers. They're starting to do resin, which will give them a little bit more money because the overhead on that is just insane. Like you can make a lot of money, especially if you have somebody basically rebrand it, which as far as I know, I think that's just rebranded eSun, which that's most what everybody goes through. And they can get them for a steal. So they can sell them and make some extra cash. I have Shitu Box Pro, which is really, really nice. There are a lot of added features. Is it worth 160 or 170, whatever it is? That's to be seen. I personally think it should be around, like half that to compete directly with Lychee now, because Lychee just raised their price for the Pro version. So I think they raised it to 65, and everybody just lost their mind about it. But basically, you're going to see the same thing come out with Lychee. Lychee's probably going to have a lockdown to their software, and it's going to be a whole battle between Lychee and Shitu Box. But in my opinion, I'm not too concerned about it. I know where they're coming from in a business standpoint, but yeah, I get where everybody's on the fence about the whole Shitu Box lockdown thing. Like, it's not right, but in the resin printing world, that's nothing new. Resin printers have always been locked down in some way, shape, or form. So if you really think about it, if Lychee wasn't out there, what else do you have? You have no other slicers. You don't. So Shitu Box kind of corners the market, so they can really do whatever they want. And yeah, Lychee's out there, but it's it's still gaining traction. So take for example, like I was just discussing about the Nova 3D Whale 2. That is very proprietary printer. The same with my WeBox, the same with my GK1. Those are very proprietary. They use their own slicers, they use their own files. Nobody else can send out those files. Not even Lychee, not even Shitu Box. Nobody can because of the way that it is, the operating system is on that. They just cannot get the files to do what they need to do for exporting. So, I mean, like I said, it's nothing new in the resin printing community. It's just something that's hit harder because now it's everybody buys the cheap stuff, and now the cheap manufacturer is starting to do that. And the reason for that is because they see a lot of competition coming on the market, and they're trying to hold their ground, which is rightfully so. I mean, they're a business, so they're going to do what they need to try and survive because, like I said, they don't really make a lot of money, providing boards and stuff like that. All their money is made on the software side, so that's really where everything is. So you have to think about it in that sense, like they're a business that's trying to survive. That's how I see it. Again, is it right? No, but I completely understand where they're coming from And do I support that decision? Not really. But again, it's nothing new to me in resin printing because, like I said, I've used lots of different printers. Most of my printers, let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11 resin printers out here right now. Out of those 11, 3 of them are Shitu based board systems. 3 of them. That's all the Frozen. So Frozen Sonic Mini, Frozen Sonic Mega, Frozen Sonic Mighty. That's it. Then you have the Kingaroon, which utilizes Shitu box, but it doesn't have a Shitu box board. You have the Nova Whale 2. That is an Android-based system, so that is specific to Android. You have the Longer Orange, which is proprietary board. It still can use Shitu box, but it has its own slicer and everything. You have the Creality Halot Sky. It's got its own slicer, proprietary board. The Uniformation GK1, Android based, got its own slicer. The WeBox Lite 130, that's got its own slicer, proprietary board. The Halot Lite, same thing. And that's pretty much it. So, yeah, most of these printers are like that. So, again, it's nothing new. No. I appreciate the insight. I don't ever really think about some of those points. Yeah, and that's with anything. I mean, everybody's going to be like, argue, 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 and they're not seeing a whole point. Like, for some reason, my mind just makes up, like, all sides. So that's why I have a hard time being in a political debate with anybody because, like, not to be political on a live stream or anything, but like there's the left people, there's the right people, and then there's like what conservatives it is. And like I get everybody's points, but then I see the other side where like you guys are idiots or you're dumb for saying that. Like why you say that? And I see that with all of them. Like I see the good and I see the bad on all of them. So it's like I can never choose a side. And somebody put me on a side. I'm like, I don't think so because I still think those people are dumb in this sense. Like it's the same thing. Like same thing with religion. Like I have a hard time with that because the whole belief thing and there's so many different variations with it that it's just like it's so hard to choose it and stick with it because there's good points and there's bad points on all of them. So it's just like I just stay out of it, that type of thing. So and that's kind of the same case with this, like Shitu box versus Lychee, which that's basically where this all stemmed at. And you know they're just trying to stand their ground, and now Lychee's starting to realize like, oh, now we understand why Shitu box has the pro version that is, you know, 100 and some odd dollars a year. Now, granted, Lychee's still cheaper than that. It's like I said, $65 a year compared to Shitu box, which is 160. But you got to understand that right now, Shitu box is, or I'm sorry, Lychee's just a software. That's it. That's all it is. It's nothing else. So Shitu box has boards for literally every printer. Like it's funny because like Elegoo is the biggest company out there for resin printers. It's my absolute hatred of a resin printer company. But you know that's just my experience. I've had bad times with it. They're kind of like my Creality of FDM. It's just kind of strange like that. But they're Elegoo Mars that I had, which was my first true resin printer. And of course, I bought one, and everybody's like, "Oh, you should have bought this like a month ago because now they did a bunch of updates, and now it's garbage." And it was garbage, and it was still garbage even after I tried fixing it with one of the admins of the Elegoo group. He's like, "Here, do this, do this, do this, tear down the entire system, add these couple parts, and it'll work." And I'm like, "Okay, great." So I got it, it worked, but it was still off. Like it was printing like 1.2 millimeter off of the Z height, and I got it down to 0.4. So I was like, cool, it's good, but it's not good enough. Like here I am with a nano DLP printer that's 3 times the price, and it works. but it's 3 times the price, and nobody supports anything for it. So it's not a user friendly system. So, but yeah, I mean, Shitu Box and Lychee are going to go head to head this next year because Lychee is going to be releasing their Mango OS board. I've already seen a printer with it, working on it. I follow the Discord. We're going to see about uh, getting one of those printers. It would be cool to have a Lychee board printer, but I'm not holding my breath for it. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But yeah, definitely Shitu Box has the upper hand in terms of printer manufacturers. So that's going to be a hard one to rip out of their hands. But yeah, like I said, there's good points and bad points to all of it. I just kind of stay out of it because, like I said, it's nothing new in the resin printing world. I know in the FDM printing world, it's been a huge debate to open source stuff for a long time. Some people do, some people don't. And I get why they don't want to open source because look at exactly what happened. Creality and a handful of people, including Naomi Wu, and my old boss Tim, they fought very hard to have the Under 3 and the Creality boards open source. Well, finally, they came to some conclusion a couple months down the road after I got into it, and they open sourced the Under 3. Well, then the G-Tech A10 came in. It's literally a Creality Under 3 clone, but on a better level. It doesn't have the same board, but it's got a different board. It's got better parts on it. And then now you have a whole slew of printers that are basically Under 3 knockoffs, and they're all better than an Under 3. They all are. And that's exactly what happened. Is they're starting to bite into that chunk of Creality. And again, it's business 101. I mean, it's a dog eat dog world. That's business, period. Anybody who's ran a business, worked for a business, they should know, like, you fight every single day to make sure that that business is afloat. And if you don't have the newest and latest thing, well, then you're going to be gone. So, but it's far worse in the technology world. So I always use Shitu Box with it, so I never really was upset with their exclusivity. Exactly, and that's basically where I'm at. Like, I was grandfathered into Shitu Box. I have Lychee Pro. I've worked with guys at Lychee. I'm going to be working with them on this. But in all actuality, I probably used it maybe 5 times. And it's just because it's kind of foreign to me. Like, how things are set up are not as easily accessible as the Shitu Box. But for some people who use Lychee right out of the gate, that might be the opposite, where Lychee is super easy to use and Shitu Box is not. Like, it just all depends on what you're used to. You know, a lot of people don't like change. I'm okay with change, but it's just like, why change that when literally, even though all these printers have different proprietary boards that I have, for the most part, I can use literally all of them actually on Shitu Box in some way, shape, or form. So, whereas Lychee, you can't really say that. You got to have special things done to it. So, let's go. I love Lychee and hate Shitu. Had a fair few fails with Shitu on photons, but they are like Marmite. You love them or hate them. Yeah, exactly. Slicers are the Marmite. I kind of got that. Worst slicer I have ever used has to be the Photon Workshop. I agree. Photon's pretty bad, but I think the Nova Maker has that beat. It takes like literally 20 minutes to render a print, and it was so bad. It was so bad. Again, I haven't used the new one, so maybe it's a lot better, but the original one was just a travesty. It would never have the right times. All the settings were just kind of weird how they would set up, and they would never save. So it was bad. It had a lot of bugs in it. So probably up there. But I understand Photon Workshop. It's not that user friendly. So
I hate any software that charges for a yearly license. Well, Benchy charges for a yearly license. Like I said, they just upped their prices to $65. So, and a lot of people lost their shit about it. And I stepped in there and I'm like, I'm not defending them in any way, shape, or form. I don't use Benchy, but it's just the fact that like you got to think about it this way. If I'm someone who's programming something for you, case in point, okay, I'm sending content to you guys. YouTube pays me to put out this content. It's not much because I don't have a lot of subscribers. It's maybe 10, 20 bucks a month, if that. And that really depends on how much content I put out. If I just put this video out there for the next month, I'll be lucky to get $5. Lucky. Okay? And that's even if I share it out every single day and get a ton of views. It doesn't matter. There's certain requirements that you got to meet. So the same thing. So basically, even though I do this for fun and I do get paid for it, let's say this was my job. I'm a content creator. Okay, I was Uncle Jesse or uh, Joel Telling or Angus or Michael Laws. You know, any one of those guys. Those guys make a living off of that. What if one day YouTube went in there and said, "Hey, guess what? Thank you guys for all your hard work, but we're not going to pay you anymore. You guys just put out your reviews and call it a day." That would be bad. So basically, that's what Benchy is doing right now. Is they're realizing like they can only go so far on free rides or cheap rides. They're realizing that to step up their game to match Shitubox, they need to step it up a little bit more. So that means increase in price. Just like with anything that you have, taxes. Prime example. Every year, taxes go up. Just how it is with the economy and everything. They're doing the same thing. They're just covering the people that are the software engineers, the designers, whoever. So I completely get it again. Today I received a mail from Shitubox about a new type of 3D printer, more fast than traditional resin printer. The name of the printer is the Rocket One. Yes, I have been in discussions with the people over at High Tree, I think is the name, who are producing the Rocket One, who subsequently make the WeBox printers, which I found out on a live stream, just perusing the internet one day. Yeah, I'm already slated into their possible review people. I don't know. I've already talked with Shitubox. I basically asked them, I'm like, hey, are you guys going to supply the board for that? And then I sent that on Friday to my rep at Shitubox. And what was it? Today they announced on the High Tree website that, hey, guess what? We're partnering up with Shitubox. I'm like, I knew it. I'm like, there's nobody else out there that has the abilities to put out that type of software for being that fast. So that's a machine, I think, regardless of what's going to happen, that's probably a machine I will end up purchasing for once. And the reason for that is that's a machine that I've wanted for a while. Now, what I mean by that is the machines that are compared to that, which are usually called SLS resin machines, okay? They are usually industrial-based printers, and they take up literally this entire rack. Like, they're usually 8 foot by 8 foot, machines that have literally a cart of resin that slides into it. Like, it's not a cheap system. The cheapest printer is about $6,000 with everything, and that's not including shipping. So probably like $8,000 with shipping, I'm guessing, and maybe with some resin as well. So to actually process that and utilize the system, you're looking at about $300 to $400 worth of resin on each go. Now the thing is your supports are going to be less on that printer, and your failures are going to be far, far less because of the way that it does it. It actually like dips it down, it does the lasering part, and then it comes up. Whereas this one's a little bit different. I think it uses an LCD technology, which is going to be real strange on how it does it. But I'm interested to see how it works. But I was always fascinated with the SLS processing. Like you see that all the time, and there's some SLS printers over in China that are just ridiculous. Like you can create whole car bumpers in one go. Like that's insane. Imagine if a automotive shop had that ability. Like, hey, we're just gonna custom design a 3D bumper for this car, and we'll have it printed in 3 days. Like what? Like that's insane. And the dimensional accuracy is there. The failures are going to be very minimal, and you can also have lighter supports or almost no supports on it, and it'll still work. So that's what's really nice about it. So I use the free version, though I do miss the pro version. Print mannequins on it. Yeah, exactly. So the problem with Lychee, when I used it, was the free version was very limited compared to the Shitu Box free version. And then the paid version, obviously, you had all those features unlocked, but you were still you were right on par with the Shitu Box Pro. But then the Shitu Box Pro got updated, and I'm working on all the beta versions with them. And so far, the support structure that they have on there are just phenomenal. Like you can do tree supports on it, you can do contouring, you can do slicing of the models and everything. Like I know Lychee does all that stuff, but yeah, they got a lot of stuff. So who am I talking to? I'm talking to the live stream that we got going on here, and we also got a live stream here. So we're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and on TikTok. Unfortunately, I try and get TikTok on here, but I can't get the RTMP to show up on my phone for some reason. So it's really annoying. So I have to figure that out. Maybe I'll have to bust out my work phone because it's an iPhone and see if that'll work. I don't know, but yeah, that's basically who I'm talking to. So my apologies if you guys see me looking that way and I'm talking to people. So I hardly use my Moai. Don't think I've used it in over a year. I think I ran out of resin for it. Never used it since. Yep. Lasers. Yeah. Basically, I'm on all platforms right now. Yeah, laser systems are kind of cool, but they can be a lot. How do I put this? No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking DLP. So laser systems are very, very fast, but they are very expensive when something breaks. So, which it happens a lot with those because they're so powerful and they're so fast that they happen to do that. So, I love how the SLS powder becomes the supports for the print, so that you do not have to have complex supports on highly detailed models or crazy overhangs. So that's the other thing. Like when I say SLS, there's two different types of SLS that you can think of. So there's SLS that's like Formlabs. Formlabs has metal SLS, okay, where they can prototype metal parts, and it basically is sand into a part, and literally you don't need any supports. Like it is the coolest thing ever. But oh my god, the cleanup, like you literally need an entire whole system for cleanup. It's a disaster. Everything has to be enclosed. It's a lot of work. So there's a lot of issues with that. Whereas SLS resin is kind of similar in the same way. You're still using liquid resin, but the way that it prints under the resin. And it's so crazy how it does that. But because you have the resin there, that is your support for the overhangs and everything. So, like on a print like this, I would print it like this and have supports coming down here. Whereas SLS, I can literally print this just like this and have almost no supports on it.
maybe a few here and there just to make sure that it does come out. But for the most part, probably at least 5% of the supports that you normally would use, that's SLS right there. So you got to take the good with the bad. But the downside of that Rocket One is it's a very small machine, which that's kind of so-so about it. I mean, once it gets its foot in the door, that'll leave it open for everything because this is the direction that it needs to go. The direction of the DLP stuff, I could really care less about. But the direction of SLS being desktop, that I'm very, very interested in because just the way that it prints, untouchable by anything out there. Laser, SLC, anything. Well, I don't know. SLC is pretty close, but SLC is Nexa. So Nexa introduced their desktop printer, which is about $6,000, I think it is for it. It's totally worth every single penny. So a print like this would print in 13 minutes. 13 minutes. Just think of that. If you spend $6,000 on a printer and your maximum time for printing is maybe an hour, and it's a medium-sized printer, it's got like a 200, maybe it's got a 300 millimeter build volume. I forgot, but it's called a Zip, XIP. Don't ask me how that turns into Zip, but it does. And Nexa 3D is something I've had my eyes on for a while, but their machines were $67,000. I can't really justify spending $67,000 for a printer that has literally everything proprietary about it, and is more or less meant for industrial manufacturing, additive prototyping. But when I saw their machines at the booth at TCT Rapid, automatically fell in love with everything. Like, they showed off all the cool stuff that they did. All their prints were less than like 40 minutes. And that was with them like double and triple and quadruple stacking thing. So that's the cool thing about their printers is their software is kind of based off of Sheet2Box, and they utilize the stacking system, which is really, really cool. So they can stack one on top of each other, and it automatically does it. You don't have to do anything. So if you have a batch of models and you need them, rapidly prototyped for that day, you can just print them all off and just be like, all right, I got 30 models to play with, and it only took me a day to print them all because you print it in one go and you don't have to be there. So really, really cool. So, Matt, did you see the paper 3D printer that prints in color? Paper 3D printer. No, I did not. I did not see that. It sprays the color around the edge of the slice and cuts the layer of the sheet of paper and glues the sheet to the previous layer. And at the end of the print, you peel all the waste paper. Very interesting. I don't see how that's very effective. There are UV printers that are out there, and those are slowly kind of transitioning to UV 3D printers. So what's happening is it's basically your 2D printer mashed up with a 3D printer. So you just use white filament, and it colors that filament to whatever you want. And it basically just takes a pen on it and goes from there. So what's up, Ray? We're testing out the new Creality Halot 1 or Halot Lite. Yeah, we failed on that, so it probably didn't get leveled. So we're gonna stop that. So one of two things happened. It's either not leveled, which I assume that it was. My bad if it isn't. Or it's the exposure is not right on that print. So we'll just run a test print. We'll clean it out and do test printing. But yeah, as of right now, number one failure. So this is why I always tell people run an exposure print, because
what do I want to call that? My run for test prints are like 1 out of 15. Excuse me. All right. Let me get back onto here. It's nearly 7 a.m. Oh, so you're on the other side of the world. It's been a long night. Let me see if I can find a link or info about it. It was a couple of years ago I seen it. Oh, okay. SLS is selective laser sinisting for polymer powders for melting for polymer resin. It's it's LSLA. Really? Okay. You sure about that? Hold on. Now I gotta double check myself because hold up. Let's see. I want to look at SLA. SLA. Okay, I'm not losing my mind. So it's still an SLA machine actually. $355 nm laser, fast galvanometer. Yeah, so this is basically, yeah. So it's still SLA. My bad. It's not SLS. My apologies on that. It's true SLA, not so like this is MSLA. It's masking stereo lithography, whatever. Whereas SLA is a laser, sinister lasering actuality, well, whatever it's called. Okay, so yeah, so basically it's SLA with the same thing. Sent via PM on Facebook. All right, cool. Here, I'm gonna just kind of show you guys off what I'm talking about. Here's screen. So yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Like this type of setup. This is one that I was thinking about getting. It's the 3DSL 360. It's Weebox's smaller version, but like I said, it literally needs a cart of resin in a basket to print. And this is how it prints. It's real crazy, like how it prints. Now, this new one that's coming out is going to be completely different because it's actually, from what I can tell, it's not a laser system. It's a LCD system. So very, very interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, the stuff that you can do about that, and that's one of the cool things about that technology is the transparency for resin is insanely transparent for it. So, seeing next gen of resin prints and has a printer next to him, and in 10 minutes it printed a sphere. Yeah, that was a couple of years ago at TED Talk, and that printer never really saw the light of day. But there is something that's pretty close, and that's the Nexa 3D. And they use SLC technology, I believe. It's a laser technology, but it I don't know how they do it, but it literally prints things in like 20 minutes max. It's insane. And like I said, everything that they do is proprietary. Like they have their own proprietary FEP sheets that are just quick change. Like, and it's not a FEP sheet; it's a membrane. Actually, it's the craziest thing ever. So, but yeah, that's what they do. So, printer. Sorry, it's nearly 7 a.m. Do you happen to know the name of the paper printer? Yeah, we'll have to see about that.
SLS. Okay, Matt, I will send you a link on Facebook since I don't have a wrench. Can you post the link on chat? A what? Oh, okay. Well, whatever. All right. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm going to pop off here. Um, basically, that's the printer, and like I said, that's what happens when we don't properly follow directions. Uh, but like I said, usually these printers are pretty good right out of the box. So we'll check the leveling on this, and then we'll just double check the exposure times. Most likely, it's going to be the exposure time. So I might just run an exposure test print, which is really cool on this machine because unlike the other printers that I use, usually I do a handful of test prints, put them on an SD card, and then let them run. Whereas this, I can just do everything right on the printer. I don't have to just do each and every print. I can have the same exact prints and just adjust the times on this, and it'll be perfectly fine. But yeah, my guess is that it's some setting is off. So it could be also the bottom exposure layers that we were dealing with because, like I said, even at 40, we should probably have like 3 layers of 40 seconds just to bond that to the plate. This one only had 40 at 1, so, I mean, the chances of it doing what it needs to do, so we'll have to do. Video was posted in 2016. Adam Savage. Okay. Holographic. Okay. So that explains a lot. But anyways, thank you guys for stopping by. I'll still be around. I'm just going to be fiddling with this. So if anybody needs anything, go ahead and hit me up on Facebook or TikTok or whatever. I'll be around, showing everything off, and yeah, we'll get this thing printing by the end of the night before I go to bed. I guarantee it. So I'll have it printing within the hour. I can guarantee that already. So, but yeah, not too bad of a printer. I like the design. The hood is a little strange because it's a little frosted, but not the end of the world. Like I said, it's a direct replacement for the Creality LD-006, and it's a very good replacement at that because it's basically a cheaper version of the Halot Sky. They took away the T8 lead screw, which I'm kind of disappointed about, but that's to save money. That I just like those lead screws because they provide a lot smoother transitions on prints. That's why the Mega has one. That's why the Halot Sky has one. Like all my high-end printers usually have that on there. So that's one thing I wish they would have left there, but hey, it is what it is. The bat design is very, very nice. We have 2 pour-off spouts on each side here. So that's really, really nice to have. We have a minimum and maximum fill level. So this bat will fit 1,000 milliliters or a kilogram of resin. And that's pretty much it. But like I said, we'll go through them. We'll do some adjusting and go from there. And like I said, we'll have a print on here within the hour, guarantee it. So, what's up? How's it going? Unfortunately, we're going to be calling it quits now. I thank you for stopping in, though. So, until next time, guys. Happy printing.